Right, so if you guys want to leave, you can leave. Bye, Ruben. So something came up for my thesis advisor, so he couldn't be here, so he asked me to record the question and answer session for afterwards. So Meredith, are we recording back here? You don't have to stand by the camera. Okay. Meredith is my faithful camera assistant back there. But so I'm gonna. You guys aren't mic'd, obviously, so I'm gonna repeat the question if you guys have any, and then I'll answer it. But so yeah, so I'm open to any questions you guys have, or no questions is fine too. But go ahead.
What was one of the biggest challenges you faced?
All right, one of the biggest challenges is probably one of the biggest challenges I faced was probably actually getting the footage. A lot of the time, I'm a full-time student, and they would do a lot of things during the weeks and on the weekends that I just couldn't go to, and so I would have to ask. I didn't really mention this beforehand, but the interviews and a little bit of the other footage I shot, but the majority of the other footage was shot by Nick Starsesnick and Matt Seal. So just cooperating with them and cooperating with the rest of the Harmonium Project guys just to have enough footage was one of the harder parts. I think the hardest part, though, was actually arranging it into a fashion that kind of flowed, because I explained this to some people that when I got all this footage, I had hours and hours and hours, hundreds of hours of footage, and it was like having a 2,000 piece puzzle and no picture. So I really had to try to piece it together, and that was definitely the hardest part was piecing it together in a way that flowed. And so yeah, anyone else? Meredith, you had I'll let you fix the camera first. All right, that's cool.
My question was, what was your inspiration for doing this project?
Oh, what was my inspiration for doing this project? Well, it was the easiest option I had. Over the summer, I lived with Mark Barnes and Joseph Antonello, and they just seemed so excited about this project, and I realized, I need to do something for my thesis. I might as well do something with these people that I already know, and Mark was really excited for me to help, and he knew I had experience in video work. But it was good that Nick is actually a freshman here, and he's super talented. All of the shot. If you saw a shot that was like, oh my gosh, that's a cool shot. I did not shoot that. Nick probably was the one who shot it. He's really talented, and it's good that he's here because he wasn't as busy as I was these past 2 semesters, so he was able to get a lot of the good footage. But no, so I was just in the right place at the right time. Pretty much was one. And I was on board with kind of what my dad teaches piano and guitar, and music's been a big part of my family, and I'm on board with a lot of what they believe. So go ahead, Kels.
I have a question about how you decided how much music you're going to use in it, because
Okay.
I've seen a lot of videos like this one. Obviously yours is much cooler, but yours didn't have as much music as I would have
Yeah.
expected. So I was wondering how you decided how much to use or not.
That's true. The question for recording purposes was how did I decide how much music to use, and I think that's a really good point in a documentary that's about music. It almost has no music in it, which is interesting. I think that decision was kind of made for me because I just didn't have a whole lot available. Originally, I was going to use the band Typhoon. I don't know if you guys have heard any of their stuff, but they're really talented, and they're in contact with Mark Barnes. But I think they're a little bit too famous for me, and I'm a little too hipster for that. No, it was a lot easier to ask these guys who had played at the Harmonium Project to ask them for the rights. It was basically just a decision that was made primarily because I want to be able to put this on YouTube, and I want to be able to use this. I want to be able to have the rights for it. And if I used more music, if I used Typhoon or other bands, I'm sure eventually I could have gotten the rights, but it might have cost me money or something like that. So, going forward, if I become a famous, movie director, documentary producer, I might go back and add more music. But, I used what I had. So, go ahead, Mike.
How much time did you spend filming, and how much time did you spend editing?
Oh my gosh. Okay. The question was, how much time did I spend filming, and how much time did I spend editing? Filming is a kind of tough question to answer because, like I said, a lot of the footage I was not there to film. But the interviews, Joe's interview took me about 2 hours of actual filming time. It took me about an hour to set up and an hour to tear down, so it was about 4 hours in total. Pat's took me about an hour, Emilio's took me about an hour, and Patrick's took me about 30 minutes, and Brianna and Genevieve's took me about 30 minutes. And I was able to go a couple of times and shoot some B-roll on location. There was only a few shots that I ended up actually using, but I would just go for half a day, a couple days, and for the rest of the stuff you'd have to ask Nick and Matt about. But editing. That's right. Jeez, I don't want to think about how much time I spent editing this thing. I think I did something that my boss actually encouraged me to do was log all my footage, because I had, like I said, hundreds of hours of footage I had to go through and extract the stuff that I wanted to use. And so logging, I would probably say I spent about 60 hours, maybe 70 hours logging all the footage, and then actually piecing it together. Probably about 20 hours on that, and then 5 or 10 hours on color correction. And thankfully I had John Welch. He said he was going to be here, but he's not here. John Welch is my audio guy, and he was able to do the audio for me, which was a huge help. So yeah, that's about the time it took. But, anyone else? All right, well, thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate the support, and yeah, pretty happy with how it turned out. What do you guys think? It was okay. Good.